Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Secretary Jewell, for testifying here today. I commend you for submitting a budget that not only makes critical investments to promote economic growth and job creation, but also reduces our deficit. As you know, this week the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change issued one of their starkest reports yet on the many impacts of climate change. The report outlined the many impacts around the globe that we are already experiencing and predicted that the problems will grow significantly worse unless greenhouse gas emissions are brought under control. I believe climate change is a critical generational issue that Congress can no longer ignore, but addressing it is also a way to spur economic growth and create new jobs. In the past 2 years, clean energy jobs in my home state of Massachusetts have grown by 24% and are projected to grow another 11% in 2014. So, Secretary Jewell, one of the many proposals included in the President's Climate Action Plan is setting a goal of permitting 20 gigawatts of renewable energy on public lands by 2020. I agree that public lands must responsibly play their part in expanding the availability and use of renewable energy. Can you talk about how this budget helps us meet that goal?
Thank you very much, Congresswoman Tsongas. The President charged us, as you mentioned, with doubling down on renewable energy permitting, and we're well on our way to achieving the goal of 20,000 megawatts by 2020. We're at 14,000 megawatts today. We do have increases in the budget to continue to support that effort. One of the areas, I think, of greatest interest in the Eastern Seaboard is what the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management is doing with the states to deconflict areas to stand up offshore wind energy generation projects. And there's a lot of private industry interest in that, and also putting a transmission backbone to provide reliable renewable energy offshore. So we continue to put increases in the budget to support this effort, modest increases, but we do have greater levels of experience now thanks to what the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management's been able to do over the last year, and we'll continue those efforts.
Well, I know that Massachusetts was very proud to participate in the nation's first ever competitive lease sale for renewable energy in federal waters, because we know that if fully developed, production from these areas could power up to 1 million homes. I'm curious as to whether or not you expect other lease sales to be made available in Massachusetts and along the eastern coast.
We do have one more in Massachusetts, I believe, but up and down the eastern seaboard, we are staging lease sales. And one of the things that's important to recognize is this landscape level approach, which we're applying broadly, which is what are the areas of conflict and what are the areas that are not conflicted, whether it's fishing, shipping, Department of Defense uses, Coast Guard, safety, all of those things are being taken into account, as well as where the wind is, so that we can be thoughtful about targeting leasing to an area that is less likely to be in conflict for the wind energy developer.
Well, I agree that that's an important way forward. Did you want to comment, Mr. Conn?
Just, we have 3 more lease sales planned this year. One of them is off the coast of Massachusetts, as well as Maryland and New Jersey.
Great. Another issue here. Last month at a federal auction in New Orleans, BP won the right to drill for oil in the Gulf of Mexico. The auction came less than a week after the EPA lifted a ban on the company from bidding on federal drilling contracts. Can you talk about, I mean, we have great concern as to whether or not we've really addressed the many safety issues around drilling in our waters. And I'm wondering if you can talk about how this budget seeks to increase offshore drilling safety, given that we've seen what can happen, the disastrous consequences of a spill, a major spill.
I'm going to ask my colleagues behind me to give me the numbers on Bessie while I talk about this. The Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement was created after the Deepwater Horizon spill, as was the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, split apart from what was the Minerals Management Service. There were a lot of lessons learned, certainly by industry. Nobody was a winner in that scenario, and certainly by us. It has enabled us to use fees from offshore oil and gas activities to fund safety and environmental programs. Brian Salerno from the Coast Guard runs that program for us and is very, very focused personally on ensuring the safety of our offshore oil and gas activities, and I think they do a terrific job.
Thank you. I know we in Congress have not received a very good grade, so I'm hopeful that all these changes will make a significant difference. But
Yet-
I still have my concerns.
Okay, the Bessie budget, $204.6 million, up about $2 million. And they did actually have a strong budget last year, and so we're continuing to round out a strong, qualified team.
Thank you.
Time of the gentlelady has expired. Recognize the gentleman